All right, so in this video, we're gonna talk about 5 simple ways you can use interactive content to increase your conversion rate. So I got my buddy here, Randy Reyes, co-founder of Outgrow, and they have a really cool tool that actually allows you to do that. I'm gonna actually let him speak to these 5 interactive ways. And if you stay till the end, there's gonna be a bonus for you. So don't forget to subscribe and click the little bell button so you get notifications, so you learn more about marketing and business. So Randy, go ahead and take it away. What's number 1?
All right, so the first thing you want to think about with any piece of interactive content is the welcome page. And so the key is the welcome page is the first screen people see when they land on your interactive piece of content. So you want to have a clear call to action to increase your CTR, so get people to click through to actually engage. And so a few things to do there is 1, have a really good background image on the piece of content, and then have sufficient text to highlight what the value they're going to get. So are you going to help them figure out the ROI of using your software, how much time they're going to save? Make sure it's clear that this is going to be a personalized score for them, and really communicate that in the welcome page to get people to actually click through. That's the first step you want people to take. So that would be number 1.
All right, what is number 2?
So the second thing I would say is your lead magnet. And so depending on your company, so you might have certain restrictions that your sales team or the head of marketing might apply to what constitutes a marketing qualified lead. And the problem is, if you have, let's say, 7 fields you need to get from a user, if you ask them all up front, your conversion rate is going to go down. So the key here is to say, okay, how many fields do I actually need from a user to generate a lead? And then let's say it's 4, name, email, phone number, and location. Then one of the key things to help increase your conversion rate is to ask name and email relatively early on in the interactive piece of content, after you've established and built some trust and actually shown them this is valuable. Then the last 2 pieces, you ask it later on. So if it's phone number or address, or depending on your business, you ask those later on once they've actually seen that the questions are really powerful and useful. Because now they've built more trust. They're like, oh, this is going to give me a really powerful result. Then you ask those at the end. So you want to make sure your lead conversion is intelligently designed, instead of asking a ton of lead questions and a few questions that are actually associated with the result that you want to show someone.
Right, so it sounds like you're kind of segmenting them out. You're getting people to micro commit first, maybe put like 1 or 2 things first, and then it's like, oh, I committed, I'll put in the information later.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. So you balance things out where they still feel they're getting value, and it's not, basically, you don't want it to feel like a survey where they're just giving you information and then at the end they just get a thank you page. You want it to feel like, oh, I'm giving you this information because you're going to give me something valuable at the end. So that's the balance between, okay, lead gen and then actual questions to help influence the result.
Actually, that's a good point. So on marketingschool.io, so the Marketing School podcast, we actually have an application chat right now. People will ask a bunch of questions, and we'll ask like 10 questions, people answer 10. Originally, we weren't giving them anything back. And like people are just like, oh, thank you for all your information, and like that was it. And at the very end now, like someone made a comment, it's like, okay, we put like oh, by the way, if you want to like listen to our marketing podcast, go over here. So that there's at least something that they get. So that's a really good point. Exactly. What is number 3?
So the third thing you want to think about is the actual length of the interactive piece of content. And this is very important because sometimes market research starts to get involved with a piece of content you build, and they start wanting to ask questions around, company size, and it just kind of goes on forever of how many questions they want to ask, your role, your function, number of people in your department, number of users. Like there's a balance between how many questions to ask versus kind of actually maintaining a high completion rate. So what we like to say is, in most cases, 3 to 10 is the range you want to do. And the reason why the range is pretty big is because if you have a simple like product recommendation, you might only need 3 questions to give them a pretty reasonable product recommendation. If you want to build a full cost calculator for a mobile app and still be legitimate and give a good result, it's very hard in 3 questions to give that. So you need 10, maybe a bit more even for something that powerful. But generally speaking, 3 to 10 is the sweet spot, or kind of range, depending on the complexity, and that allows you to build trust with the customer because they know you're not asking them 1 question and you're gonna give them a recommendation, and you're not asking too many questions where you're gonna have a high drop off and bounce rate in the middle of the cut. So I like 3 to 10 questions, 3 to 10 kind of engagements in either a chatbot or a calculator or assessment is a good sweet spot to get high completion rate and build trust.
There you go. There's the sweet spot. Don't overwhelm people. So what's number 4?
So the 4th key thing is the results page. Okay, so when it comes to the results page, you want it to be personalized. So use conditional messages. So if you're doing like an assessment, you want to assess someone's knowledge about SEO or about content marketing or whatever you're trying to assess their knowledge on, you want to make sure that if someone gets a good score, you personalize the result for their good score, and you personalize the CTA. So you don't tell them...
And the CTA is?
The CTA is the call to action. So the call to action is the button you usually put on the results page. You want that to say something that's relevant to what they just got. So really personalize the message, and it takes extra work because you don't have one results page. You might have 10 different results page. And that's fine because now the person comes on the results page, they're like, oh, this GIF is relevant to me. This text is relevant to me, and this CTA is relevant to me. And so really personalize the CTA. Don't send everyone to the same piece of content post CTA. You want to send people to different things. So really personalize results page, and now they're going to feel a lot more, they're going to find it a lot more relevant, and yeah, it's going to increase.
Personalize, personalize, personalize. So number 5.
So the 5th key thing is the shareability of the piece of content. What makes someone more likely to share a piece of content is one, the quality of the result. There are 2 parts to increasing your share rate. One is having the share button easily accessible. So they can easily see the share button, and that's obvious, and most people already know that. But people's likelihood of sharing something on social is also significantly correlated with how much value and relevance they kind of get from this content. So if they get a lot of value from the content, they're much more likely to share it. And so this comes back to the actual formula you're using to dictate the result, right? So if you're trying to get a distribution of marketing spend, really think through how I want people to distribute marketing spend. A lot of companies will come and they'll be like, oh, let's just say 40% Facebook, 40% Google, and 20% other. And the problem with that is that that's not actually taking into consideration specific businesses. Are they B2C or B2B? What's their audience segment? You know, should they experiment with LinkedIn or Reddit? Should they experiment with other avenues based on the specific niches they're targeting? And so putting some extra thought into that allows the result to be much more powerful, and then you increase your share rate. So making sure you think through formulas and shareability would be a key 5th component that I would highlight.
Cool. So utility, usability, that's what makes it shareable. Okay, great. All right, so we got the bonus for you, but before we give the bonus, I want to know how you plan to use interactive content to increase your conversion rates, how you can be creative in terms of increasing your conversion rates. Drop that into the comments. So Randy, we've been waiting for this. What could the bonus possibly be?
Yeah, so one of the key things I like to highlight with the bonus, and by the way, thanks a lot for staying until the end, is the personalized video on the results page. And a lot of people say, oh my God, how am I gonna personalize the video? It's kind of impossible. So what we like to say is, depending on your video team, is separate your results into 3 to 5 segments and create a personalized video per segment. So if I'm coming in, and let's say we're doing a calculator, or you have some sales productivity software, and your sales productivity software has certain values depending on the number of people have in a sales department. You can segment based on the size of the sales department and create 3 pieces of content to highlight the certain value, your key value prop for those 3 people. And then on the results page, segment those people and have a personalized video that appears right there. And that personalized video is now gonna tell them, oh, so you have, generally you're a small business. You have less than 15 people on your sales team. This is the value this is our key core value prop. And by segmenting that and having that video there at the end that auto plays when they reach the results page, show text but don't have volume, and then you're gonna give them just a lot better engagement. They see like, oh, this is actually personalized to me, this video, and you're talking to someone. So that would be my bonus recommendation, to really get that extra level of engagement, and people are more likely to share as well if you do that.
All right, guys, so there you have it. Randy's been very generous with his time. Go to outgrow.co to check out his product. It actually helps you make these interactive tools so you can increase your conversion rates. And guys, don't forget again to leave a comment below, subscribe, and check out the next video, and we'll see you tomorrow.